Right, guys. So 3 minutes early, specifically, so we have some time to look at whether the image is okay, whether the audio is okay, and I'll just turn off my own audio so I don't hear myself twice. So yeah, please let me know in the chat whether you can hear me okay, and then we'll be all ready to go in a little bit. We'll wait a few more minutes. And let's see if we got any takers today. Okay. Pretty spontaneous video. So yeah, we'll see. And we got 2 people on board so far. Cool, cool. 5 getting there. Nice, nice. And yeah, while we're at it, like I said, for those who just joined, I'm going to wait a few more minutes. I started a couple of minutes early so we could look at, whether the image is okay, whether the audio is okay. And then we'll take it from there, right? So yeah, leave me a comment in the chat and let me know if you can hear everything okay. That'd be nice. And while you're at it, let me know where you're from. I'm always interested. Any comments, guys? There you go. Hello. Cool. Yeah, can you let me know if the audio is okay? Okay, cool, cool. All right, guys. So I will wait one more minute and then we'll get started. So yeah, right. So Yasser is from Germany and Morocco. So I assume you are from one country and live in the other. Could be. Always curious to see if I see any familiar names, and usually that's the case. And I'm actually also interested why you are specifically in this live stream. Are you a teacher? Are you a student? Nepal, awesome. Yeah, what is the reason for being in the stream, right? Are you a teacher? Do you want to become a teacher? Are you a student? And so forth. Okay. And you got one more minute to go, and then we're at the planned time for the stream, and then we'll get started. Okay. Let me take a quick sip of coffee here. Okay, guys, well, let's get started. So, as you saw in the title of the live stream, we're going to be talking about how to, there's a familiar name, how to teach 3D. Now, let me start by saying that everything I'm going to talk about in this live stream is my personal opinion, right? I'm not going to attack any teachers out there, any professors out there in any school or otherwise. This is my personal take on it, right? And that brings me to the reason why I'm making this video or this live stream. Well, the main reason is that over the years, as I made content on YouTube, I have been in contact with tons and tons and tons of people, right? Literally, I would say thousands, right? And what I hear all the time is that people are complaining about the quality of their education. They spend a lot of money on college. They feel that they're not prepared, that are not being taught the correct things, that kind of stuff, right? Now, I don't know if you have the same experience, and I obviously would love to know, but that is the main reason why. And what I intend to do today is talk about what teaching means, where the disconnect is between, in my opinion, between the educational system and the 3D industry. And at the end, I want to have kind of an open discussion where I can share my views with you guys and we can talk about it, right? Now, even if you are not a teacher, if you are a student, so then I think this live stream is still very, very important for you for the simple reason that it gives you a better understanding of the school system. It gives you a better understanding of the scope of teachers, why they are teaching the things they are teaching you, and how to prepare yourself for that. Okay. Okay. Cool. So yeah, let's get started. Uh, so when we talk about teaching, what does teaching mean anyway? What is teaching? What's the definition of teaching? And I got my notes up here, right? Um, it says, thanks, Umberto. You're awesome. The definition of teaching, according to Google, is teaching is to cause the students to learn and acquire the desired knowledge, skills, and ways of the industry. Now, that's great. However, if you, let's say, have Maya class once a week, and the teacher is talking about how to model this or that or whatnot, right? How does that align with the desired knowledge that is required in the industry? Because you're being taught Maya. Who says Maya is the software to learn? Why shouldn't it be Blender? What about other things like rigging and animation and all that kind of stuff? What should you know? What shouldn't you know? What will prepare you the best way for the 3D industry? That's kind of what I'm saying, right? Now, let's start with talking about learning in general. Now, if I were to pass you in the street and I would give you a flyer with something on it, right? And you wouldn't even look at it, you would throw it in the trash. Would that be sharing information? Well, from my point of view, yes. From your point of view, no, because you're not reading it. You're not seeing it, you're not reading it, you're not hearing it. So it doesn't become information until it reaches your senses. Now, if you read it and ignore it, then it's still not knowledge. So the whole point is if the scope is to teach you how to become a 3D artist, right? And to be effective in the 3D industry, then you need to understand what a 3D artist is. You need to understand what you need to know. Okay. So that acquires information, knowledge, and skill. So that means how do you prepare someone that walks into a college room for the first day ever to be functional as a 3D artist somewhere down the line, let's say 3 years later, 4 years later? That requires a lot of things. Now, before I get into the next step, any questions so far? Because I love to get feedback from you guys. I love to answer your questions. Let me know if you understand the scope of the video, if you understand where this is going, and whether that is something that is of interest. Okay. I know there's a bit of a lag going on there in the chat box, but that's fine. Let's see. Studied electronics in Germany. Worked solid edge. Okay. All right. So, as expected, a lot of people talking about the software they work in and kind of the knowledge they have. Okay. Now, if we talk about we talked about teaching. Let's talk about 3D. So, what is 3D? 3D is basically a whole package of skills, modeling, rigging, texturing, animation, ethics, and so forth. Knowledge of the industry that you need to have depending on where you want to work, hard skills, soft skills, and so forth. So, um, what I see all the time is when we talk about 3D, that people miss the point of what it is being a 3D artist. I saw a comment already from somebody saying AI is coming, right? I get the question all the time, will AI kill the industry? Will it make us lose our jobs as a 3D artists and so forth and so on? I personally believe it will not. And let me explain why. For me, the definition of the job of a 3D artist is to be able to visualize the storyline that somebody wants to tell. So it can be a producer, it can be an art director, it can be anything like that. They base it off of a script, they have a book, they have a storyline. They want to visualize that story. And your job as a 3D artist is to help visualize that, right? Does that involve skills like Maya and ZBrush and Blender and all that kind of stuff? Sure. Is that something that AI can do? Yes. However, to understand what the storyline is and to collaborate with those people and to help tell them that story with your visual skills, that needs creativity. That needs you to be a person, right? That is the core job of a 3D artist, in my opinion. If you are making a commercial for BMW because they want to present their latest car, your job is to help them visualize that, right? And that is not just modeling a car, it is helping to tell the story to whoever they want to tell it to potential buyers of the new car, to investors, to whoever that may be, all right? So hopefully that addresses the whole AI. Now, let's see. When it comes to who would be a teacher, or what is required of a teacher? Well, first of all, they need to have the desire and ability to pass on knowledge, and they need to have the skill to help you to become that person active in that 3D industry. That brings me to the next problem. A lot of people teach but don't practice, right? They are active as a teacher, let's say at a university, a college, have never worked in the 3D industry ever. Now, is that a problem per se? No, it isn't. It's only a problem if it is their job to teach you to be functional in the 3D industry. If it's their job to teach you Maya, they might be the best Maya teacher ever. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are the best teacher to prepare you for the industry, right? So that's where a possible disconnect could be there. If you feel that that's going on when you are in class, you have questions about industry and that teacher doesn't understand or doesn't know, you can ask the teacher, do you have that industry experience? If not, can you help me to get that knowledge from somebody else or a different location and so forth? Most times I see people simply saying, well, my teacher doesn't know, and that's the end of it. At the end of the day, you are in that classroom for you, not for them. Okay. Alrighty. So when it comes to that teaching role, let's say you want to teach, right? You need to understand the scope of what it means to teach. Now, I understand that not everybody here has English as their primary language. So maybe I need to maybe I need to explain what scope means. Basically, it is what do you teach? What do you not teach? What is the definition, or everything that's involved in the curriculum that you are teaching your students? Now, like I said, if you are a teacher and your job is teaching Maya, then that's it. But if your job is to prepare a student for a life as a professional artist, that is a whole different thing. Now, that brings me to the next thing. If you are in a classroom and you are being taught, or you want to teach yourself, right? You need to understand what is the definition of what you're teaching. Who defines that scope for a teacher? Let's say you are a teacher working at a college, okay? You are being told what you should teach. They will say, "This is our curriculum. This is what we teach our students. You need to teach your students Maya, ZBrush, Blender, rigging, modeling, whatever, and that's it." Okay, cool. Now, what if you want to teach so much more, but the college is saying, "No, we're not going to do that." Well, one of the reasons for that, and this is something for you to think about if you are a student yourself or if you want to teach yourself, is this. Most schools out there that teach 3D, whether it's online or in real life, right? They have a bottom line. They are commercial schools, meaning they need to make money, right? Now, let's imagine that they have a curriculum and they want to bring in new students and they advertise saying, well, we're going to teach you bookkeeping and finances and law and contracts and negotiations, that kind of stuff. A lot of students will not go to that school for the simple reason that it's not cool. You want to become a 3D artist because you love movies, you love games, you love all that kind of stuff, right? So they will put stuff in the curriculum that reflects that, so they will get students that they need to keep their doors open. Does that mean that colleges won't teach you anything else? No, of course not. They will teach you the other things, but they will push heavily on the quote unquote more popular stuff, which in itself is fine, except once you graduate and you come into the 3D industry or you want to start working as a freelance 3D artist, you have a huge knowledge gap that will impact you in a negative way. Okay. And simple enough, it's not good. Okay. Now, what do you need to teach or what do you need to know, depending on what seat you're in? Are you the teacher or are you the student, right? First of all, technical knowledge. Now, what do I mean by technical knowledge? Um, how to open Maya? What does this button do? What happens when I save the file that way? And so forth and so on. So it's literally flat knowledge. It's very technical, but it's not functional. Functional is okay, I know all these buttons, but what can I do with it? Now, the functional knowledge that you are supposed to gain depends on what you want to do in the 3D industry and depends on the curriculum of the school and the role of that teacher. Again, if there's a disconnect between the two, then you are in big trouble because you're spending tons and tons of money on that school. You graduate, you want to find a job, and the industry says, well, you're not prepared, you don't have the right background, you don't have the knowledge, that kind of thing. Especially if you are looking to, for example, work as a freelance artist. Okay. So, functional knowledge, technical knowledge. Then, of course, creative skills. Like I said, the primary role for a 3D artist is your ability to translate information into something visual, right? Whether you are a rigger or an animator or a modeler, it doesn't matter. You get instructions from your boss, your art director, the producer, the client, if you're freelance, and they want you to do something, right? Make a commercial, make a car for my commercial. I want it to look cool. I want it to do this, to do that, do so and so. Knowing Maya won't cut it. You need to be able to talk to that person. You need to understand what they want. You need to collaborate with them, talk about changes, how to do that. You need to be able to deal with people that are upset because they're on a deadline. They are freaking out. They're doing whatever. Or what happens most of the time, they don't understand 3D at all because they make cars. They're not a 3D artist, right? Makes it really complicated. So that means soft skills. You need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to hold a professional attitude, all of that kind of stuff. Okay. So that brings me to the next topic, and okay, so, with that in the back of your head, if you were to teach yourself, how would you approach doing that? And at the same time, if you were a student in a classroom and you're looking at a teacher, how would you approach that, right? Now, what I personally do is I try to find essence. So, if I'm, for example, I don't know, making a video about, I don't know, how to extrude, right? Now, what I would do is I would eliminate everything that is not relevant to that topic. I see a lot of tutorials where there's way too much stuff going on. They got a super complicated model, they got music going on, the person is talking about all sorts of stuff. The essence of the video is you wanna know how to extrude Maya, right? So I will take the simplest possible object that I can think of, probably a cube, right? And I will try to avoid using words that make it overcomplicated. If you are super advanced in Maya, you already know these terms. And if you are just a beginner in Maya, you don't need to know them yet, right? The whole point is you want to be able to know how to extrude. So I'll break it down to a super simple object. I'll use simple words to explain it. And that doesn't mean that the recipient of the information is stupid or anything. It means that I try to get to the core essence of that tutorial. Now, in a college environment, it's a bit different because you are in a classroom with, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, 25 people, and everybody has their own demand. People transfer to schools because they came from 2D and went to 3D. They have a different idea, they have different questions, and so forth and so on. So that's kind of my approach, guys. What I would like to do at this stage in the live stream is to give you guys the opportunity to ask questions so I can interact with you guys, and preferably questions related to the topic. So either experiences that you had or have as a student, that you have or had as a teacher, things you ran into, questions you might have, what do you do when you feel unprepared, and so forth and so on, right? Because at the end of the day, I can be sitting here and talking all day long, but what I want to do is to address real life issues and help you guys with them if I can. Okay. All right, so I'll give you a second to think about that while I have a sip of coffee. Let's see what you guys have been writing here. Any questions, guys? Well, I think if no questions are coming in, it's going to be a quite a short video. Um, that said, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I do not monetize my videos, and um, I hope that shows you that I'm really passionate about this stuff. Let's see. Hey, I'm a student under a bond with my 3D animation school. After I graduate, I'm going to start being a tutor for the school. I have no industry experience, but I'm going to be a tutor nonetheless. Okay. Now, any advice? Well, look, the thing is, like I said, if you have no industry experience, first of all, it doesn't have to be a problem. It depends on what your scope is. If it is your job to teach people how to work in Maya, and that's it, that's fine, right? But there are things you can do, though. I mean, yes, you might not have industry experience, but you can still expand your knowledge by, I don't know, working as a freelance in your free time, right? Dealing with clients. You can do workshops where you invite other 3D artists and you talk to them and share information with them and so forth. There are tons of ways of getting that knowledge, right? Keep in mind, most people that get started in the industry, especially when you're straight out of college, nobody has that industry experience just yet, right? What you want to avoid, though, and that would be my tip, is keep on learning. Every 3D artist in the world is continuously learning, updated software and all kind of stuff. What happens a lot in schools, especially if they don't have huge budgets, is you are working in outdated software. You are not in tune with new developments in the industry, and therefore you are giving advice to students that is no longer relevant in the industry, and that can be bad. Okay. So hopefully, Luke, that helps. Let's see what we got here. Subar is saying, I have been working as a freelancer from the start of COVID. Prior to that, I just had a few months experience in the industry as an archivist artist. Okay. Well, the cool thing about being a freelance artist, I mean, I'm a bit biased for the simple reason that I work freelance as well, is as a freelance artist, you work with multiple industries. You work with car manufacturers, you work with the local bakery, you work with game studios. So you get tons of experience in different industries, which is very important. A lot of people graduate and then they go and work for, let's say, I don't know, real estate project developer, right? And they're doing archivist work. After working there for 5 years, they probably know everything about modeling archivist stuff, right? But they have no experience in game environments, in other topics, and so forth. And if that's what you want your career to be for the rest of your life, hey, great. However, working as a freelancer gives you a lot more experience. And therefore, my advice would be if you dare to do it, right, is to start off as a freelance artist. And then, if you want, start to think about working for a studio, for example, because they love that experience. They love the fact that you have worked in all these different industries, right? You can adopt different styles. If the studio has a new client and they have a different style, and you are used to working in different styles because you were a freelancer, that kind of idea, right? So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Let me see. GPT AI. See, how long do you think it will take the software that you were using to be replaced? What do you suspect is happening, and how can you overcome the situation? Well, like I just said, artificial intelligence, it's just that, right? It can, I mean, by itself, it can't do anything. You can sit there and watch AI for a week, nothing will happen. So at the end of the day, it is a tool that is fed by humans, right? So what they used to say is garbage in, garbage out, right? If all the criteria and all the algorithms are based on garbage, then the output would be garbage as well. Now, that's beside the point. The point is, and I just mentioned that before, the essence of a 3D artist is that you as a person have the ability to be creative. Now, I know AI does quote unquote creative things, uh, but you can question whether that is really creative. I mean, you can feed 50 different characters into an AI and say, create a character, and they will. The problem is, what will come out of it at some point is what I like to call a Big Mac, right? It is, if you look at the comparison with food, for example, the reason why a Big Mac is a Big Mac is because they developed a product over time based on millions and millions and millions of users, where they said, okay, what's the common denominator? If it's too spicy, people don't like it. If it's not spicy enough, they don't like it. So you kind of average things out into a product that is mainstream but tastes like nothing, right? Not saying a Big Mac doesn't taste good, but you know what I mean. So the uniqueness and the ability to understand clients and to visualize their dream, their idea, their whatever they want to achieve, that is key. Um, so the shift I think that will occur is you will have more and more um, tools to automate quote unquote standard activities, and you will get more and more into an advisory role where you work on concept stuff, where you collaborate and so forth. Now, let me give you an example because this has happened before, right? And why do I know this? Because I'm an old guy. I'm old as dirt, right? And I remember back in the early '80s, right? I mean, I was writing code in 1980. I know you guys can't imagine that I'm that old, but yes, I am. So I'm writing code in 1983, and if you want to have a cube on your screen, then you had to basically write a code to create a cube on your screen because that's how long ago that was, right? Nowadays, you go into Maya, you click on a button, you got a cube. So how is that not AI, right? It's not exactly the same, but you get the idea. All of these things have been automated, and the idea is anything that's repetitive, anything that's standard, anything that can be replaced by, an automated process, that is what will be done by AI. Anything that is specifically, human creativity and so forth, that will always be that. So that's what I think will happen, right? Um, yeah, so, Rich, let me know what you think of that. Let's see, I learned everything from tutorials from YouTube and some specific online courses. Cool, I'm struggling with clients, how to manage them and how to find more work, etc. Okay. Well, the thing is this, with first of all, before I start explaining, I did a 10-part series on my channel, everything you need to know as a freelance artist. And I'm talking everything. How to find clients, how to set up a contract with clients, how to negotiate with clients, how to stop clients from asking more and more and more and more for the same amount of money, all that stuff, right? Now, um, the thing with clients is this: you think you are selling a 3D model or a 3D animation or something like that. To an extent, that's true, but in reality, that's not what the discussion is about at all. If you to take that example again with BMW, let's say you're sitting down with BMW and they want you to model a BMW car. Chances are you're gonna start to talk about how to model cars and what cars you model and all that kind of stuff. Where in reality, what you are selling is not the 3D model, but is the value that they are looking for. They are paying you for something that creates value to them, right? Um, if they don't have that car, then your model is useless, right? So your model represents a value, and that is what you need to understand. Talk to the client. What is their primary thing that they want? Do they want a model super fast, regardless of cost? Do they want super high quality, regardless of delivery time? Somewhere in that mix is where the value is. Now, if you talk about delivering a 3D car, then they'll probably say, "Well, listen, I can get this car anywhere, right? Because there's tons of 3D artists out there. I can go online, I can ask tons of people. So you are way too expensive. You need to lower your price, otherwise I won't buy from you." That is the complete wrong discussion. That's not how that works. If you understand their true value, you will tell the client, "Listen, yeah, you can do that. You can go online and go to, I don't know, Bangalore, India, and say, 'Hey, model this car for me.'" But you are right there, face to face, talking to that client, right? You can communicate quickly, you can communicate effectively, you, might have a different experience, you might have a better quality. Find out where that value is, okay? And hopefully that will help you to make it easier to deal with clients. Right. Any other questions, guys? It's interesting, by the way, that I decided to do this topic on teaching 3D. And it looks like there is a very, very, very small interest in that topic. And why am I saying that? Because normally when I do an unplanned live stream, so I don't even announce it up front, Um, I'm looking at typically something around 100 to 150 people in the live stream. Right now, there's 6 people online, right? And that kind of proves my point that I made earlier. Why? Well, because it's not cool, right? And I mean, that is what the internet is about. That's what content is about. It has to be cool. The thing is, school doesn't pay the bills, guys. You want to be a 3D artist, but you want to be a 3D artist 6 months from now and a year from now and 5 years from now, right? That means you have to know the boring stuff. You have to have the skill to find clients, to hold on to that client, to uh, deliver on time and the right quality and all these things, right? Now, the number of people on the live stream is, I would say, 5% of what it normally is. I talked before about the curriculum of the universities, right? That would be the exact same thing. If I were monetizing my videos and I was doing a live stream and my goal was to make money off of that live stream, I wouldn't choose a topic like how to teach 3D. I would choose a topic like, I don't know, modeling a warrior and texture it in ZBrush, something like that. That's why you see so many time lapses on YouTube, because they spend 20, 30, 40 hours on a character. They show it to you in 5 minutes. A bunch of people look at it, and if views are clicks and clicks is money, and so forth, right? But again, it will not help you to achieve what your goal is, I assume, because if you are a 3D artist, you want to be a 3D artist, you want to make a living as a 3D artist, right? Okay, any other questions, guys? Let me know. And while you think about that, uh, where do I live? Well, I live in the Netherlands, if you know where that is. It's also called Holland. And although I'm not originally from Holland, I do live here. So I'll give it another minute or so, guys, see if there's any more questions. And if not, then we'll call it a day. By the way, just on the off chance that some of you actually thought it was helpful, I do not monetize my videos at all, but if you want to do something, here's a link. You can buy me a cup of coffee, right? Let's see, Sri Lanka, your channel. I am. I'm back for sure. I have been doing quite a few videos lately, and I will be doing a lot more. So no worries, I'm back for sure. Yeah, like I said, I'm making quite a few, and I needed to take that break, and to be honest, one of the reasons why I needed to take that break is probably because of what I just explained. It's all about, I don't wanna be too general about it, but the whole internet, for the large part, is about, the cool stuff, if you know what I mean, right? I take 3D extremely serious. I've been teaching for a very, very long time. I think people that teach have a responsibility to teach properly, to help people where they can, and to help, especially the next generation, to become a full-fledged 3D artist, right? Um, and I just I was competing, if you know what I mean, right, with tutorials that would basically create something super simple but cool, right? And these videos would have, 100, 200, 300,000 views because it's easy, it's cool. People can sit back and look at it and say, "Hey," right? No real effort into it, no need to uh, really apply yourself and that kind of thing. Now, my channel is purposely a learning channel, and I very much try to target people that are new to the industry. That's why my videos are fairly simple. because I try to keep them as understandable as possible, right? And yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I stopped. And now that I've revamped the channel, that's also one of the reasons why I turned off monetization completely. So I don't make a penny off of my YouTube videos, right? No ads, no monetization, nothing. Um, and for that reason, I don't care whether other videos get, 1 million views or 5 views. That's not the point, right? Let's see what else. Grateful I'm making the videos. Thank you so much. Have you ever given critique to students before? Any advice how can I approach critiquing students' work? Well, first of all, I have a playlist on my channel where I do portfolio reviews, right? And I've done quite a few, and actually quite recently I did a few. The thing with portfolios and students' work is this: um, if you make something for a reason, right? What's the reason? To help BMW sell their car, to get hired by a studio, to be the next big thing at Disney Pixar, what? So if you're critiquing a student's work, then the first question would be towards the students, why did you make it? What do you want to achieve with this piece? Are you telling your story? Are you telling somebody else's story? What is their story? What do they want to achieve? And so forth. If they are able to tell that story, then they did a good job. And if the technical execution of that work is good, even better. So let's say, for argument's sake, the story is, and again, the BMW. Let's say BMW made an SUV, and they want investors or they want new clients or whatnot, but they want that car to do crazy, dangerous things, and they're still in the prototype phase. So they ask a 3D artist to do that. Now, you model a 3D SUV, but you don't understand that they want to drive this thing through the mountains, and it has to be all mucked up and dirty and whatnot. And you come up with a car that has not even a speck of dirt on it, right? Probably you either didn't listen well to the clients, or you didn't understand, or anything like that. That is key for a student and for any 3D artist. Listen to what your client wants. And every 3D artist has a client, whether it's your boss, whether it's your client, whether it's your colleague. Somebody wants something from you, and your work should represent what you have been asked. So, critiquing students' work, if you are a teacher and you say, I want you to make a piece that expresses ABC, when they're done, can you find that ABC in that work, regardless of what their personal style is, right? Take, for example, movies by Tim Burton. We all know Tim Burton. Um, a very unique, very specific style. You can tell a story in many, many different ways and in different styles, but the story is key in that case. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, okay. Is online school worth the risk, or learning from YouTube the best option? Online school worth the risk. What is the risk of the online school? Keep in mind that schools, specifically 3D schools, or multimedia schools, or you know what I mean, right? They have an accreditation. For example, in the US, if you go to a college and that college has an accreditation, it means that that school is screened, that they have to hit a certain mark as far as the quality that they provide, the curriculum that they set up, and so forth. If you have a school that does not have an accreditation, then they can basically teach you whatever they want or whatever they don't want. And you can ask yourself, will that prepare me properly for a job in the industry? Maybe not, right? So accreditation is one thing. Are there online schools with a proper accreditation? Yeah. Um, Learning from YouTube, is that the best option? Well, for the reason I just told you, that should already answer that question. If the pressure for YouTubers is to make cool videos because you will get more likes and therefore make more money, then you'll probably see a lot of videos teaching you cool stuff, but not necessarily important stuff. I would personally do a combination of both. I would either go to a legit accredited school, whether online or not, and in addition, I would participate in challenges. I would be on social media in groups with other 3D artists to build my network. I would watch YouTube videos because looking at a YouTube video is basically learning from other 3D artists, just seeing what they're doing, right? So yeah, I would probably do a combination of that. Alrighty. Any other questions? Very welcome. Yeah, let's see. AI, GPT, understand what you said previously, but there seems to be a controversy within the world because replication of artwork is another area, and it could well overlap into the game development. Well, yeah, it could. I mean, can you ask an AI engine to create a game from scratch? At some point, sure. I mean, there'd probably be limited human intervention, right? And you could do that. Now, you can ask yourself, well, that's great, but what will the outcome be? Now, it all depends on what you're satisfied with. And to give you an example to explain this, right? Let's say you want a leather belt, right? And you say, okay, I'm going to go online and I'm going to look at Wish, right? And I'm going to order a leather belt for $1.50. Okay. Now, I can bet that belt, right, is made out of a extreme thin layer of leather, if it is indeed leather. Backing of it is probably gonna be a powdered residue of leather that's glued onto it, right? And it's probably made by the cheapest labor ever, and it's mass produced. So, what you're basically getting is a piece of crap. If you're happy with a piece of crap and you're paying a buck 50 for it, hey, you're pretty happy, right? The thing is, what if you are not happy with that? What if you like the look and feel and smell of real leather and you want to experience that and you have to go out and buy a belt and pay $300 for it, right? People do that. That's kind of the explanation I gave before. You can go and have a Big Mac or you can go and have a New York steak, right? Um, It's quality over quantity. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't care about quality as much anymore, but they do want quantity because people have an attention span of 5 seconds nowadays, right? So they play a game and they want to play 25 other games before lunch. Um, if you are in the right section of for the industry. So where quality matters instead of quantity, you don't have anything to worry about. If you are creating low poly game props for a living, I would be worried for sure because that's easily automated, right? Let's see what else. My brother-in-law is in Groesbeek, Holland, who is a games designer, has advocated his job may well change from a technical point of view going to be fascinating. Yep. Motion graphics. Motion graphics. I think I actually did a motion graphics video at some point in After Effects. I don't consider motion graphics to be 3D per se. um, I'll give it some thought, right? Okay. So, hopefully that kind of explains the whole discussion of AI and low quality versus high quality. I mean, AI can make amazing things, but again, it's like if you see a robot, right? A robot is basically a machine, and everything that's going on in that robot is created by human beings. A robot without human intervention is as dangerous as a dishwasher, right? Um, so there's always the human element, and as the technology advances over time, you need to consider what the human element is of the role of a 3D artist and focus on that to keep your future safe, right? That's my take on it anyway. All right. Any other questions, guys? And let me know because it's been a while since I did a live stream. Let me know, is this something that you guys enjoy? I mean, you're still hanging around, so possibly, but let me know, okay? Any more questions? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, guys, I think that's it. I don't see any further questions. So, yeah, I absolutely want to thank you guys for hanging out, for taking time out of your day to follow along. And yeah, thanks for watching. And let me know in the comments after this is done whether you want me to do more things like this or not, or different types of live streams or no live streams at all. Okay. Well, that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.